Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Vacant Light. Today I'm talking about Serotonal, and this is the futility of trying to avoid the unavoidable. This is the second release that was made available by Serotonal, and is the follow-up to The End of Everything. It's also the predecessor to Serotonal's first full-length album, which was called Monumental, released in 2009. But one thing I'd definitely like to start off saying is that each of Serotonal's releases are musically distinct, stylistically different from one another, and of course this is no exception to that rule. Um, However, what is common between them is, an excellent release, well-written music, music that people can connect to. And I found, this particular EP to be enjoyable from start to finish. I'm a huge fan of Serotonal's work, and of course, this is no exception to that. Now, this was originally intended, I guess, to be a three-track EP, but this is actually the bonus version, which contains two additional bonus tracks. Also, with this, I received a nice little Serotonal guitar pick. Kind of a neat throw in there. Now, if you're familiar with The End of Everything, you know that Serotonal has written some very melodic music in the past. While there are some similarities between this release and that one, there are quite a few differences as well. I found that The End of Everything was very blatantly melodic and blatantly atmospheric, but I found that the futility of trying to avoid the unavoidable was more subtle and it was more acoustic oriented. It wasn't the sort of situation where you listen to that and felt very overwhelmed by the atmosphere on the release or immediately sucked into it, but it's actually the almost like an intentional side effect of the music that as you listen to this EP and more, you can really catch on to the lyrics and you can really catch on to the ideas and concepts that the band was trying to sort of portray with this music. It's very subtle, but it works very well. Instrumentally, I found that this release was very minimalistic, and that can be easily heard through the use of bass and percussion in particular. Uh, I felt that the percussion was almost jazz influenced, and it kept the beat, and it kept a nice soft underlying tone to the music. It worked quite well because it added that very floaty and that very airy atmosphere, and it really didn't try to do too much, but with what little it did quite a lot, if you know what I mean. Now, in terms of the synth work here, there's almost a duality on this album. There's the very clean, very acoustic, very soft vibe of music. And there's also a more synthetic, a more electronic vibe. And if you look at the cover of the album, it almost represents that electronic vibe in the music. It's very clean cut. It's very structural. Now, I found the synth did that quite well, and again, it didn't overkill the sound. It didn't try to overwhelm the listener on the first listen. This is really an EP that grows on you as you listen to it more and more over time. Now, in terms of the guitar work, it's more or less acoustic oriented, regardless of what type of instrumentation was actually used to achieve that. Yes, there are sections where the music will delve into that heavier classic doom metal vibe, but that's really used as a sort of a key mechanism to take away from the main flow of the music and then bring you back to that. It's not something you'll hear for prolonged sections of the music. And again, the guitar work is intricate. It's minimalistic, but it is at the forefront of the music. I found that it was a little more prominent than the bass playing and the drumming, which actually doesn't detract from the music. It's not overwhelmingly prominent, but it is definitely at the forefront. Vocally, you'll hear a mixture of spoken vocals, of softer singing, and again, often, often but quick, delve into the heavier doom metal inspired parts. Darren White is known for his musical diversity, which you may be familiar with if you've listened to his history from Anathema to the Blood Divine, for example. Quite an interesting shift of musical styles. And that diversity is definitely represented on here, even though certain parts may be represented more than others. Overall, I found this to be enjoyable. There weren't any gripes I had with it. And one thing I found quite interesting is that at first this felt very soft and very almost straightforward and clean sounding. But as I listened to it more and more, there was a darker edge sort of below the surface of the music. That can be made apparent, for example, if you listen to the lyrics of You Can Love Again. At first you'll think it's a soft and emotional song, and it is, but there's a darker tone in the lyrics if you listen to what Darren White is really saying. And also with the production, I found that at first it sounds clean, it sounds clear cut, but as you listen to it more and more, you can hear an almost it sounds like an intentional rough vibe to the music. The odd kind of belty vocal patch, the odd strange electronic sound there that almost offsets the very cleanness that can be found at the surface of this music. So the more you listen to this, the more complex it gets a little bit, and the more you can really enjoy a lot of the dualities that you'll find in the music here. Overall, the futility of trying to avoid the unavoidable, it's very different from Serotonal's other releases, and it's distinct, and that's one of the reasons I liked it. This is the band that can, generate those ideas and convey those ideas to the listener through different media and through different tones and sounds. And this is consistent with the other releases while being different, distinct, and very interesting. Thanks for watching this video, and check out Serotonal. Bye.